Hello, this is Mrs. Brown, and in this recording, I will be showing you how to complete the Unit 13 project. First things first, you'll need to open up GIMP. For Unit 13, you're going to open up two images. So we'll navigate to your Unit 13 folder, wherever you have it saved, Image Design, Tech 30 Course Resource Files, Unit 13 folder. And when you get here, you're going to open up one background image. So this would be 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, whoops, 1, 2, 4, 5, or 6. This is a foreground image. So file open, I'm going to go with image 2. And then you're going to open up one foreground image, which would be any of the people or animals. Okay, so once you have your foreground, which is a person or an animal, or your background, you are ready to begin. So you need to have your foreground tab selected, and then in your toolbox, you're going to click the fuzzy select tool. In the background, you'll then click the image window. You're going to click the background of this image. It's going to select the space around the actual image. So if your background doesn't have a solid color like white, it can be a little tricky. So to start off, use the something with a white background. Otherwise, you can use different selection tools to get the background selected. You're then going to click the select menu and then grow. And you're going to grow the selection by 1. You will then click the select menu and then invert. This is going to reverse the selection to select the image instead of the background. If you need to start over, you can just undo or click select none and repeat the previous steps. So now make sure that this is still selected, and we're going to click edit copy. And then we're going to click our background image, and we're going to click edit and then paste. Notice that you're going to have a floating selection layer over here in your layers dock. So we're going to click the add new layer button to anchor that in. And then we're going to double click and we're going to type object. We're going to name this layer object. So you'll notice here that my object now is rather large. And if yours isn't, that's fine. Mine is, so we need to scale it. So when I click on my object, you're going to make sure that these chains are linked. If they are not, it won't move proportionally. And then I can go ahead and just scale. And I'm going to scale right here. And then I'm actually going to move so I can scale again. So you can scale and move the object as necessary to be Oops, and you can see that my background just moved, which sometimes happens. So I will undo that. And then I'm going to hide my eye icon so that I don't snag that. I'm going to hide the eye icon next to the background image so that I don't snag it. There you go. So now I have my object that fits on my background image, and I'm ready to go. So now I'm going to save the project, and we're going to save it as add. Make sure it's saved in your Unit 13 folder so you have it saved easily. All right. now we're going to add a mask layer. So we're going to select in our layers list the background image. We're then going to type and rename this layer background image, I mean. Okay. And now we're going to duplicate this layer. So to do that, we're going to click the layer menu, and then we're going to click duplicate layer. You're going to see over here we have, it now says background image copy. We're going to now double click this and we're going to type mask and hit enter. So we want this mask layer to be above the object layer. So we'll just use our green arrows here to move it up, and your layers should be in this order: mask, object, background image. Your object will be covered up, and that's just fine for now. Now we're going to create another new layer. We're going to click the layer menu, click new layer, and we're going to name this layer background color. Now for this, we want the fill type to be set to white, and we'll go ahead and click OK. So this background color, we want to select this layer, the background color layer, and we actually want to move this to the very bottom of our layers list. Using those arrows, your layers should be in the order mask, object, background image, and then background color. Now in the layers list, I want you to click the mask layer, and we're going to create a selection. Now you may have a different background image. Whatever background image you have, you're going to follow these same steps. Maybe just watch what I do first, and then complete the same steps on your image appropriately. So I'm first going to use my rectangle select tool. You can choose any of these selection tools to complete this. I'm choosing the rectangle select tool. And I'm going to make a selection just like that. And you can see I have a selection. I'm now going to click my scissor select tool. And then down here in the tool options, I'm going to click add to current selection, because I'm going to select a different part of the image, but I want it to be added to this first selection I made. So I'm going to now start making selection points. Whoops. I actually need to start over. Okay. Okay, I'm going to rectangle select again. There we go. Click in there and now I have my selection. I'm going to go to my scissor tool, click the add to current selection button, make sure it's there. I'm going to use my scissor select. I'm going to start up here now. And I'm going to go around the top of this little moon mountain. Remember, the scissor select tool can kind of gauge the shape somewhat of what you're working with. I'm going to come down. I'm going to go all the way across, up, and then to finish it, I'm going to click in the center, and I now have that. I have a little space here that I don't want. So I'm now going to actually go back to my rectangle select tool, click add to current selection, and I'm going to just get this last little space ever so slightly. And now I have my selection all shored up there. So with everything selected, I'm now going to click the layer menu and then mask, and then add layer mask. In this selection window, you want to make sure that the selection, click selection, and then click OK, or then click add. it's going to hide everything outside of the selection. And now you can see that my object has popped through. So to get a really clear picture of what you did, if you hide the background layer, you can see that I selected all of this, and then this is hiding through. So hopefully that will give you an idea of what you should select on yours. You can use any of the selection tools that you learned about in Unit 11 to complete that by continuing to click that Add to Current Selection to get the shape however works best for you. Now you're going to click the Select menu and then None. And we're going to take a little save break, File Save, to save what we have done. All right, now in the layers list, we're going to select the object layer and we're going to move it to the very top of the list. Here you can use the Move tool, the Scale tool, once again, to move this object wherever you want. The goal is to have the object to be hidden, somewhere above your selection, somewhere below. If you would prefer the object to be hidden behind the mask, you can have it under the mask layer. So if you like, whoops, and I moved it way too far. Okay, so if you like it on top, that's how you can do it. If you like it to be kind of peeking out, you can have it like that. Okay, so that's up to you. So next, we are going to use gradients, which is a new skill. So in the layers list, you're going to click the background image layer to select it. Then in the layer menu, you're going to click Layer, Mask, Add Layer Mask. In this dialog box, you want white full opacity to be selected, and then you're going to click Add. Now, a new tool that we have not used is over in the toolbox. It's called the Blend tool. It's a little box that goes from gray to white. So go ahead and select this tool. You're then going to, in your, the bottom of your toolbox, you're going to click the Reset Foreground and Background Colors. You want to make sure they're reset. You have black on top, white on the bottom. But then you're actually going to swap them by clicking this arrow so that white is on the top and black is on the bottom. So the foreground will be white, the background will be black. Now in the bottom dock over here, you have your brushes, patterns, and now we're going to work with gradients. So select this gradients tab. If you don't have names, I would suggest you click the Configure This tab and then View as List so that you can see the names. In this gradients list, you're going to select the FG to BG RGB. FG to BG RGB to select this. This stands for foreground to background, red, green, blue. Now, in the image window, you're going to click and drag to add a gradient. So I'm going to literally click from this side all the way to this side to add my gradient. You can play around with this however you want to create the gradient how you want. So you can click and drag to make it look different. But this is how I'm going to keep mine. Now we're going to add another gradient. Make sure you still have this blend tool selected. Make sure you still have now you're going to select the background color layer instead. Okay, so make sure the background color layer is now selected. In the bottom dock, you can select any of these gradients to use, except the FG to BG RGB. So choose something different. I am going to go with, so come down here, find one that you like. You'll see what happens here in a second. I'm going to click the incandescent, and then you're going to add this gradient by clicking and dragging once again. And you can see the gradient's been added. Now you can play around with these gradients by clicking and dragging in a different way. Notice how when I just clicked and drag over here, it changes the gradient. I like the gradual, so I'm going to drag along the whole background, but you can play around with that however you like until you like how it looks. Okay, so this finishes part 1 of this video. We're going to click File, Save. I'm sorry, part 1 of this project. Part 2 will come in the next video.